Guys, new thumbnail settings, new intro settings. It's a new week. Big up to everyone locked in on this wonderful, what is it, Monday? It's a Monday here. It's a bit of a sticky one happening in the UK right now, but we're here to bring the content. We're here to bring the content. Big up to everybody locked in. I hope you're having a wonderful Monday. Let me know what you lot have been up to thus far. Let me know what your day's been like. If your day's just starting, let me know what you're up to. And if you are in the UK, I hope you and your family are all staying safe. It's a very unusual time, very uncomfortable time right now, but it is what it is. Big up to everyone locked in. Defly says, hurricane in my city. I don't care. I gotta hear from Minna about the latest team news. I hope you're okay. I hope you're okay first and foremost, and I hope that your family are okay. Big up to Riri in the chat, says love it. Big up to Ahmed in the chat. Big up MUFC 14. Listen, guys, let me know what you lot been up to. Let me know how your day has been. I'm not gonna lie, it's been an interesting one. If you're not from the UK, I'm sure you're aware of what's happening in the UK right now. So it is a bit of an interesting one. It's uncomfortable, but I'll call it out. Racism, Islamophobia does not have a place for us in society at all. It doesn't have a place for us for it in society. And anyone that does support it, especially if you watch my channel, you're not welcome here. But let's get to football. Let's get to football, because of course it's 5 days until the Community Shield, guys. 5 days until the Community Shield, and Manchester United have yet to get their deals done for the players that they want to get. Now, I know there is a little bit of news kind of progressing about, Matthias de Ligt and Nazir Mazraoui. So we're going to go through that. We're going to talk about that. Some additional information, I guess, or some additional news on Soufiane Amrabat, which is something that Manchester United could be looking to as an alternative for Manuel Ugarte, as well as Adrien Rabiot. A part of me feels like if Man United don't get Ugarte, they might get Rabiot and Amrabat. So then we're going to talk about that. We're going to discuss that. Aaron Bissaka's deal could be threatened due to financial, I'm going to say situation, but it's more so to do with, him and Manchester United coming to an agreement on their side of stuff. But you guys know what it is. Like I said, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Before we actually get into that, we're going to get into the returns. The returns have happened. The returns are here. They have returned to Carrington. Players have returned to Carrington after their extended break. Which makes me wonder whether Manchester United will actually play some of these players. Of course, we've got Luke Shaw here on the weights, doing some weights, bro. Don't injure yourself. Do not injure yourself. But he is back at Carrington. Another player or two that's back at Carrington are these two reunited after like a month and a bit away from each other as very good close friends. So they are reunited. Another guy that's back at Carrington, and boy, could Manchester United could have done with him during preseason, is Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes is back at Carrington. Quite a few players have reported back to training now. I guess it's everyone. This is now everyone are back at Carrington. Everyone's back at Carrington. It was just the Portuguese players, the English players, Dutch players, Argentinian players, etc., that were not there. But everyone's back. Everyone is back. They are back, and that leaves us in a positive place. And last but not least, guys, this beautiful person is back. This beautiful human being is back. Lisandro Martinez, my brother, fresh off a Copa America. What's that now? Copa America, World Cup, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, all since joining Manchester United. What's next on the horizon? Please stay fit. Please stay fit. That's all I ask for. But it's nice to see some familiar faces, obviously, returning back to Carrington. Now, what we're going to talk about today, what we're going to go through. Bayinda, man like Baytinda. I think that's what I called him on the first ever time that I spoke about him. I called him Baytinda. And that name kind of slaps anyway. But he is back too as well. We got a little bit to talk about from the commercial aspect of Manchester United. We're going to speak about inside the US tour. You lot know I like a good article on The Athletic. We've got a nice little breakdown onto in regards to what kind of the journalists encountered and what they observed during Man United's US tour. Now, of course, during the US tour, executive staff members were there, which is quite unusual for Manchester United. You know, CEO, sporting director, technical director, etc., all traveling with Manchester United during that time. So we're going to talk about that. But before we actually get into that, let's talk about Snapdragon. You lot are probably thinking, what the hell? Why is Mina just showing us a random badge? Let me scroll down a little bit. Talk about Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Don't worry, we're going to talk about Wan-Bissaka. We're going to talk about his demands of what he's requesting to leave. Reportedly, by the way, I don't want to speculate, but reportedly what he's asking to leave. But Snapdragon, who sponsor Manchester United and sponsor quite a few other sporting projects, are interested in the Old Trafford naming rights. Now, this is really interesting to me because they've got a 3-year deal on Manchester United's shirt worth $225 million. That's a lot. That is a lot for a 3-year deal. Now, I've seen this idea of having naming rights for the stadium. You know, like how they have in America. I think most stadiums and arenas tend to be, you know, sponsored by someone. I remember Staples Corner. It's not called that anymore, but Staples Center. Did I just say Staples Corner? That's an area in London. But Staples Center is got another name. I don't even call it that. I still call it Staples Center. But a lot of stadiums have naming rights, including the one that Manchester United were playing in across their tour in America. Now, of course, Manchester United are focused or are interested on building a new stadium with the cost expected to be about £2 billion. Now, they need to raise that £2 billion somehow, and they need to get it from somewhere. They're not going to get it from the government. They're not going to solely get it from Ineos investment, but I can anticipate that they might try and get it through naming rights. Now, for context, guys, the Sophie Stadium, whatever it's called, that's called the Snapdragon Stadium or whatever it's called, I think it's about 600 million that was paid at the time for 20 years. I'm sorry, if Man United were to ever sell naming rights for their stadium, firstly, I would prefer, and again, it doesn't matter what I would prefer, but my preference would be that it will still retain the name of Old Trafford, but it will retain, you know, Old Trafford. You know, like how Wembley Stadium is called. It says Wembley Stadium sponsored by EE, something like that. Now, of course, that means the money will be less because you don't have the naming rights. Now, Old Trafford for me you can't drop the name. You cannot drop the name. The Snapdragon Old Trafford. That's too long. Snapdragon Old Trafford. That sounds like a spell, guys. That Snapdragon Old Trafford. That literally sounds like a Harry Potter spell. We can't do that. We can't do that. If someone said to me, "Yeah, I'm going Snapdragon Old Trafford," excuse me, where the hell is that? Where the hell is that? I'd actually think that sounds like a spell, guys. I'm not for it. I'm low-key not for it. Personally, I would prefer it either stays as Old Trafford, or if it goes, like, the thing is not gonna lie, stadiums get naming rights. Who actually calls it by that stadium? I have not called the Camp Nou the Spotify Stadium or the Spotify Arena, whatever the hell it's called. I have not called it that ever. So I don't think people will really end up saying, oh, the Snapdragon Stadium. Now, of course, like I said, Manchester United need to make money somehow. 225 million for a 3-year shirt deal is enough. It is a lot, sorry. So if they can manage to negotiate something more, that would be top. That would be top. But listen, let's get into it. Inside, this is an amazing picture, by the way, guys. This picture is a banging picture of Erik ten Hag just looking on. I wish they recreated it at Old Trafford because it will just look better. But inside Manchester United's US tour. Now, we're going to go through this before we get to the transfer talk, which will probably be a bulk of the stream. Erik ten Hag having his fingers involved in a lot of pies. That sounds weird, but having his fingers involved in a lot of pies in terms of the coaching staff, the players he's brought in, the mechanisms of the team in terms of how they're playing in pre-season. You can't look at it and think this is not a Ten Hag style. It's got his fingerprints all over it. Now, of course, Erik ten Hag I would say he made a comeback. I'm going to say he made a comeback because 2 months ago, I thought he was out. 2 months ago. But reportedly, Erik Ten Hag has tweaked his management style since the arrival of Ineos, in terms of accommodating for his players' views, which people do deem that as, by the way, as a tweak to Erik Ten Hag's management style, but keeping it in line with how the new football leadership team view coaching and the way that Manchester United are. Now, in the Athletic have stated, by the way, that Erik Ten Hag is still very much in control, but there has been an adaptation after last season. Now, what is those adaptations? I would say one of them probably is the idea of Jadon Sancho coming back into the team. Now, of course, Erik Ten Hag stood on business. He stood firm on his kind of idea of what he expects from players and his standards. And Jadon Sancho stood very firm, but clearly they met halfway. And I anticipate that was probably because, people probably, mediating between the two of them. Now let's talk about Jadon Sancho actually, because he is mentioned a bit in this piece. He is mentioned quite a bit in this piece about Jadon Sancho, and kind of the fact that him returning into the first team kind of echoes the idea that it's not just a Ten Hag decision here anymore. The decisions are made by people outside of Ten Hag as well. Now, Erik Ten Hag has refused to say in the media, which I think rightfully so, by the way, he has refused to say in the media whether Jadon Sancho apologized or not. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, but every time he was asked about Jadon Sancho, he always kind of said that he has to apologize. And now Erik Ten Hag has changed his tune and said he's not going to say whether Sancho has apologized for that social media post, which kind of it might suggest that the two of them just kind of had a truce. But at the end of the day, it's kind of the feeling around the camp is that something is blossoming as a result of this. And now Erik Ten Hag has one extra player in comparison to last season, which is what we kind of spoke about a lot when we spoke about the wide options, when we spoke about the creative outlets last season. We kind of spoke a lot about, if Jadon Sancho was here, it would have made a heap of difference, having one extra player, etc., etc. And reportedly during preseason camp, Jadon Sancho responded very well to instructions from Erik Ten Hag, especially with his off-the-ball movement versus Liverpool and Real Betis, demonstrated good application to pressing and falling back into the 4-2-4 defensive shape when Manchester United were out of possession, which is something that the coaching staff have been working on during preseason, and we saw it. No one can say that they did not see those kind of patterns of play. It was on show quite often. It was a system that worked previously, by the way. This is not something Ineos have come in and done. This was literally on show in the FA Cup final, just probably different players kind of implementing it. Now, if we take it back to Sir Jim Ratcliffe and what he kind of said when he first took over Manchester United in his first ever interview, if you lot remember, he spoke about having a football style that a football executive, that sets a style for the club and the manager kind of implements it and it aligns with the manager's goals and expectations. But that's why I say that I don't think they've come in and done that. I don't think Jason Wilcox, the guy who's been tasked with this job, has come in and done this, because I look at this style that Man United are playing currently, and I'm only going off of preseason thus far, but that looks like it's an Erik Ten Hag style. That really does look like an Erik Ten Hag kind of model. But obviously in terms of the long-term plan, I think the long-term plan for Ineos is to have, a cohesive unit and a cohesive model that no matter who the manager is, there will never be a shift in playing style, because you will consistently play in the same kind of manner. Now, going back to Erik Ten Hag quickly on that, he had daily talks. Imagine that, daily talks and daily meetings about training with 4 individuals. So Dave Brailsford, Dan Ashworth, Jason Wilcox, and Umar Barada. And obviously, like I said, they were traveling with the team. Erik Ten Hag feels backed. He feels sufficient in this process, which is a positive. And who else did we see on the tour as well? We saw this guy here. We saw Ruud van Nistelrooy making his return to Manchester United in the dugout this time around. And apparently there's a big feeling around the camp on pre-season about Ruud van Nistelrooy's influence, not just as a coach, but just as a player. I feel like, because a lot of people, I don't know what it is yet, but I genuinely feel like if there are players who become coaches after being phenomenal players, people will have the utmost respect for them. I don't know what it is, and I feel like Ruud van Nistelrooy is definitely that one as well, because he's highly rated. Now reportedly, Erik ten Hag made the recommendation about Ruud van Nistelrooy, because I've been wondering, is he an appointment of Ineos or not? Apparently, he made the recommendation to Ineos because of his communication styles, his knowledge of the game, his presence, his aura, if you want to say. I've seen the term aura being used. His aura. He's been doing attacking work with attackers, etc. But not just that, but he's also been working on the defensive. He's been working on the defensive side of stuff with people. So let there not be the impression that he's solely there just to work with strikers. He's not there. He's an all-round coach. This guy literally coached PSV. He could work with the goalkeepers if he wanted to. He could work with the defenders. He could work with anyone. He takes over in a lot of drills, which reportedly the players have. I don't really care whether the players respond positively or negatively to it, because they should just be there to do their job and to train and to play football. But reportedly they're responding well to it. So the kind of the feeling around Manchester United, I would say, according to this report, is during pre-season is a positive vibe. The reason why Umar Barada, Dan Ashworth, etc. went out there, because they wanted to get a personal feel of the environment with the players and the coaching staff, but also they wanted their presence to be felt by the players, just kind of like, oh, we're not just sitting in offices in Old Trafford, we're not just sitting there, we are here, we are active, kind of like we're all in this together. Word to High School Musical, you lot know I love a good High School Musical song, but word to High School Musical, we are all in this together. Now, of course, there are still some players that went out on pre-season, which their future is kind of uncertain. But we kind of have to, we got to wait and see. We got to wait and see. But listen, enough about that, yeah, guys. Let's get to the best part of the stream. And I know, guys, I have to start with this. I have to start because I laughed. I laughed when I saw this. I don't know if you lot seen. Let me know if you guys have seen this today so far, because I always say to you guys, it's not a transfer window if Manchester United don't somehow get linked to Frankie de Jong. It is not a transfer window. It is not. Now, it's coming from Spanish media, so we're not gonna sit here and talk about it in detail, but I have to mention it because it's funny. It's funny. Reportedly, Barcelona are desperate to sell Frankie de Jong and have been offering him to multiple clubs, including Manchester United. They are asking for up to 40 million, even less than that. They said apparently even 35 million. But the biggest problem is his wages, where it's reported that he's on up to 600k a week. Now, financially, it will never make sense. It will never make sense for Manchester United to ever sign Frankie de Jong. Ever. So let's put some context, guys. Let's put some context, yeah, into this, because you guys know how the salary situation works in football, right? In terms of from an FFP perspective and accounting perspective, your salary, your transfer, is divided across your salary, right? It would never make sense. It will never make sense. This guy is on nearly 600k euros a week. A week, guys. I had to actually go and read it. Now, about Frankie de Jong's salary, obviously he took a big pay cut. I don't know if you remember, he took a big deferral on his payments during COVID, and now he's just owed a lot more. So that is what inflates his price. But I had to mention this because Football 365 reported that it was coming out of Spain that Manchester United were willing to look at this, but I don't believe it. I do not believe it. And I don't believe it. I know you lot don't believe it. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Ten Hag has made some crazy money for Ajax. Might be an inside agent. I'll take Fred over this clown. I'm sorry. I would honestly take him if he was on a free. I'm not joking, guys. Honestly, I'm not even joking. But listen, let's get into the transfer talk. Enough about that. Let's talk about legit news. Let's talk about some legit news. Let's start with Sufyan Amrabat, the Manchester United midfielder that wasn't he didn't. What did you lot think of his loan spell, guys? Before we get into his loan, the news about Sufyan Amrabat, what did you guys think of his loan spell? Would you guys want to keep him, given the circumstances Man United find themselves in right now? I mean, with the Lenny Yoro injury, you know, the Ligt deal, the Mazraoui deal taking a bit of time. The midfield is scary. For me, that midfield scares me to death. It scares me to death. Amrabat, on a permanent deal, I think would be about 20 million euros. I think it'd be about 20 million euros. That's just a rough estimation. And then Rabiot on a free. That's two midfielders in now. Obviously, I don't think Sufyan Amrabat's wages would be that much, but I do think Rabiot would be a lot. Now, we're going to talk about PSG because if you don't know, they just announced João Neves today. And I wonder what that means for the chess piece of them kind of trying to offload Manuel Ugarte. Buggy says, I just wish he played more. Lil Yo says, bring him back. The Sniperman says, get in Amrabat loan. And Ridwan says, I just remember 45 agility midfielder. 45 is nice. Too nice. Ross says, no to Amrabat. Felt like we had Maguire playing in midfield. Damn, not Maguire. So according to Fabrizio Romano, Manchester United's full focus is on Manuel Ugarte. However, if they can still spend money on players, Sufyan Amrabat is definitely one of the main targets that they're interested in. Now, like I say all the time, it works for Sufyan Amrabat because A, he's played for Man United, B, he's been in and around the environment, he's worked under Eric Ten Hag, etc. It won't be, and you know he wants to come, personal terms won't be a problem, he won't cost a big fee. So there's a lot of positives to the idea of signing him. However, I do think Man United need a bit more of an agile midfielder. I'm not going to lie. Now, Sufyan Amrabat, for me, in the latter stages of last season, he was the Amrabat that I was used to seeing at Fiorentina and Morocco. And before you lot say Mina did not watch Amrabat, please, please, please don't lie about me. Yeah, I used to watch Amrabat before United, before the World Cup as well, AFCON days as well. I think he never got to show his true, what's the term? Ability. I don't think he got to show his true ability, and he's keen on the move. He wants to return to Manchester United, but I'm just thinking of longevity. I'm thinking of longevity. When I look at Real Madrid and they signed Tchouaméni, and then the following window they signed Camavinga, they're building their midfield for the next 5, 6, 7 years. That's what I want at Man United. I want a midfield of Kobe. Eventually, United will probably replace Bruno Fernandes, but I want a midfield in the next year or two that can compete for the next 4, 5, 6 years. That's what I want. I don't want a now answer. I don't want to answer to the now. I want to answer to the future. And maybe that's me just being a little bit too optimistic. Maybe that's me just being a little bit too optimistic. Mazraoui is 26, and so is Amrabat. I'm not really moved, by the way, on Mazraoui. I like Mazraoui, but again, longevity wise, what's the plan? We're here offering people, by the way, 5, 6, 7 year deals. I think it's 5-year deals with the option to extend that Man United are offering to everyone. Amrabat is 27, 28 next month. Yeah, damn. Amrabat's younger than me. Damn. And I'm here age shaming him. That's ridiculous. Let's talk about Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Before we get to the Bayern Munich and PSG stuff, let's talk about Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Now, yet to leave Manchester United, of course, returning to England with the team after the pre-season tour. Reported by Sky Sports earlier this afternoon was that West Ham were pushing to finalise the deal between Manchester United and sign Aaron Wan-Bissaka. The clubs are getting closer to the agreement on the structure and the fee. Personal terms are not expected to be a problem. However, reported separately by the Telegraph, is that Aaron Wan-Bissaka is demanding a multi-million-pound deal, a multi-million-pound payoff from Manchester United to leave the club this summer. West Ham are willing to meet Man United's 18 million valuation for Wan-Bissaka, but they cannot afford his wages, leaving the deal in limbo. Now, this reminds me of last season. I don't know if you guys remember, and big up to Abdullah for dropping that in the chat. We're going to get to that as well. But if you don't remember last season, Scott McTominay, Harry Maguire, who is it? West Ham, Fulham, etc. They could not afford Harry Maguire's wages. I don't know if you lot remember, but that's what happened last summer. Reportedly, they couldn't afford Harry Maguire's wages. And Man United and Harry Maguire couldn't come to an agreement. So essentially what happened, guys, in these kind of situations is the valuation difference. So say Wan-Bissaka, I don't know how much he's on, but say he's on 140k a week. And West Ham's offering him 90k a week. There's a 50k difference between what he's earning at Man United right now and what he would earn at West Ham. So for the 1 year left of his contract at Manchester United, he's got 1 year left. Man United would be willing to pay the difference, the 50k difference between what West Ham offers him and what he's already on. And that might cost them a lot. Now, I don't know what the ins and outs are of this deal. I don't know what West Ham are offering. And I don't know. Let me double check Aaron Wan-Bissaka what he's on. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is on 90k a week reportedly at Old Trafford. Damn. That's not a lot. That is 90k a week is not a lot, guys. Well, it's look at me again being silly. It's a lot of money, but in the context of football, 90k is not that much. Now, I want to see what West Ham's average salaries are and who gets paid the most at West Ham, because I can't imagine a lot of people getting paid a lot. I mean, the highest earner at West Ham is 150k. That's Lucas Paqueta. After that is Kurt Zuma on 125k, Danny Ings 125k, Areola 120k, Bowen 120k, James Ward-Prowse. So there's about 7 people that are on 100k plus. Kudus is on 90k. I'm sorry, no disrespect, yeah. But if Kudus is on 90k, then Wan-Bissaka shouldn't be on 90k at West Ham. No disrespect. But Antonio is on 85k. Fabianski is on 65k. Nath Agard, the centre back, is on 50k. So clearly they don't pay a lot. They clearly have a clear wage structure at West Ham, which I totally understand. Now this could possibly hinder this transfer. And I don't blame Aaron Wan-Bissaka, guys. I was gonna say I don't blame Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but at the end of the day, it's rightfully what he's entitled to in terms of the contractual obligation that he signed with Manchester United. And I said the same thing about Harry Maguire last year. I said it was best that last season had Manchester United come to an agreement between Harry Maguire and between Harry Maguire and the club, and agreed kind of the difference in salary. And I would say the same for this one. Now, again, I don't know. We don't know about the ins and outs about what he's being offered. We don't know. I don't know what he's probably. What do you think he's probably being offered at West Ham? I could see maybe him being offered 60, 70k, which 20k a week difference. Again, I was gonna say that's not a lot of money, but that is a lot of money. Some people don't even make that 20k in a year, let alone a week. So that is a big difference. Definitely that is a big difference. And it adds up at the end of the day. But Manchester United are penny pinching right now. Man United are penny pinching right now and trying to find the best solution financially to get the best deals possible. I mean, and the fact, by the way, can I just say, the fact that Manchester United, or can I say Wan-Bissaka, knows that his departure, signing Nazir Mazraoui is heavily reliant on Aaron Wan-Bissaka's departure. So if Man United want a new fullback in Nazir Mazraoui, they need to give Aaron Wan-Bissaka what he wants. Now, again, this is all, by the way, speculation. This is all just speculation and reports that are suggesting this. This is not me coming for Aaron Wan-Bissaka's character, etc., etc. But this just shows you that these contracts that Man United have given out historically is just questionable. It's just really, really questionable, because 4 years later, Man United cannot offload players. Today, I saw Man United post a tweet that really, it kind of made me laugh, and it kind of had people in an upheaval in a way. Before I actually speak about it, I'm gonna bring it up. If you lot follow Man United on Twitter, then you know what I'm speaking about. But they posted this today. Where is it? And they also posted, okay, so they posted this today. 5 years of Harry Maguire, and people lost their shit. People lost their shit because of this post, and I couldn't understand why. Then I realized it's because it says 5 years of Harry Maguire, and they're still struggling to get him off the books. Now, when I look at Harry Maguire differently to like similar to Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I'm not heavy on the criticism, especially with Wan-Bissaka and recently Harry Maguire, because yes, Man United is not they shouldn't be the type of players that Man United have in their team, but you also need people, especially in the most recent seasons when Manchester United have struggled to offload people. You need players that are role players. You know, in basketball, you got your starting five, then you got your role players, you got your sixth man, etc., etc. You need to have people that are happy to do that job, come to work, get paid, play when they're called upon, and when they are called upon, they play well. And Harry Maguire, in the way that he's conducting himself in the last, I'll say 18 months or maybe even 2 seasons, is nothing short than a professional. Nothing short than professional. And on top of that, he's played very well. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. Last season, there were times where he was one of our most important players when called upon defensively, when Man United's injury problems were just out of this world. So I highly respect him. But Manchester United and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, for me, need to come to an agreement. They need to come to an agreement, because I'm very worried about the fact that I'm not worried per se about the transfer window. I'm more concerned about the fact that Man United are 5 days away from a competitive game, and then about 11 days or even less than that away from the start of the season. That's very scary. That is very scary. And next week we're going to do our season predictions, and I'm going to be real. It might not be the way that you guys might think it is. But listen, on to the next one. If you've just come through, guys, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. We always try to aim to get 100 likes throughout the stream during the afternoon. So let's try and get 100 likes. And then if you obviously watch this back later on, be sure to hit the like button too. If you want to join the Minions gang, the membership club, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content. Of course, you get to support the growth of the channel. If you want to support the channel in other ways, you can by sending in super chats with your comments, with your questions, with your thoughts, or if you're just appreciating the regular content here, and the content is contenting. So on to Adrien Rabiot, the player that I have a love-hate relationship with. Sometimes I warm up to the idea of Manchester United getting him, and then sometimes I'm just like, absolutely not. But right now, I feel like Man United are in a position where their backs will shortly be up against the wall. I genuinely think that. Now, it's unfortunate, by the way. Can I say it's very, very unfortunate that Manchester United are in a position where they have to have outgoings before they have incomings. Similar to Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Mazraoui being linked to each other, I think the idea of getting a midfielder is linked to potentially Scott McTominay's departure. You look at all the other midfielders Man United have. Eriksen ain't going anywhere. Casemiro ain't going anywhere. That's it. That's it. That is literally Bob's your mate. But regarding Rabiot, it's reported by Fabrizio earlier this afternoon that Manchester United have been offered the chance to sign Adrien Rabiot this summer. Nothing is advanced at this point, but Manchester United are fully focused on Manuel Ugarte. Rabiot wants a salary of more than 7 million net per year. What does that work out to be? Let's figure out. 7 million net euros, by the way. A weekly, that's about 135k, but that's net, so you have to put tax on top of that. I think it might go up to like 160, 170, by the way. So he's basically asking for about 160k weekly. Daniela says West Ham have a wage structure. Why should they break that to benefit Man United? Maybe Man United need to stop putting players on big wages that other clubs can't match. I agree. That's why I said it comes back to shoot you in the foot. It's been 4 years since Man United signed, 5 years since Man United signed Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and now that they're trying to offload him, it's not going to happen. It might not happen because of that financial situation. And the same thing happened last year, by the way, with West Ham and Harry Maguire. I don't know if you guys remember, but big up to Daniela. I appreciate the comment. Just on Rabiot quickly, guys. 160 week free agent, so you ain't paying much. I don't know why we care, by the way. I don't know why we care about agent fees. I don't care what Man United pay for agent fees. I don't care. Did anyone care about agent fees when Man City signed Haaland? No, they even took that. They took the price off the agent fees, off the transfer fees, literally, because I think obviously his father, who was his agent, got a big chunk of it. But I don't know why people, when we talk about the idea of signing Rabiot or signing other free agents, we want to talk about agent fees. Agent fees is a part of life in football now. It's either you pay or soon enough. Yeah, I think we're probably like 10 years away from seeing like 50 million agent fees, etc., etc. That man make bank. They make bank, honestly. But the idea of Adrian Rabiot, I'm not that against it. I'm truly not against the idea of Adrian Rabiot now. For me, if it depends what role he comes in for. Is he going to be a regular starter? Is he going to be a consistent starter? Is he going to be a bench player, a rotational player? Is he just going to be a older, more experienced player that Man United want to have in their midfield alongside maybe Casemiro and Kobbie Mainoo? What is it going to be? Now, if it was Adrian Rabiot coming in by himself, I would be against it. I'm only warming up to the idea of Man United signing Adrian Rabiot if they're signing another person with him. And the reason why I say that is because he's free. He's free, so they should be able to sign him. And it could be maybe salary that ends up falling through. That could be the real thing that ends up falling through. But let's get to the main details. Let's get to the blockbuster information. Now, Muppeteers did a video earlier on, which I'm going to bring up the quotes, but Abdullah was nice enough to drop them in the chat as well. Reportedly, Manchester United would rather not sign anybody than reach 50 million up front for Matthias de Ligt. What? Hold on. I didn't read that properly when Abdullah put that in the chat. I did not read it properly. Man United would rather sign no one than pay 50 million up front for Matthias de Ligt. Oh my days. Oh my God. United are pissed. If that's the case, United are going to be in a sticky situation. We really might go into the season with Lisandro Martinez, Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof, Johnny Evans. But to be honest, they're saying up front, 50 million up front. So essentially what I'm gathering from this is that, and this is the reports, by the way, is that Manchester United and Bayern Munich are set to open a new round of talks about this. So there will be a new bid in place. Obviously, we know the first bid was rejected. I think Man United are trying to negotiate a package. They're trying to negotiate maybe paying 10 million across the course of a number of years, maybe 12 million over the course of a number of years. I'm not going to read too much into this. I'm not going to read too much into this and be like, wow, they're not going to sign anyone unless they have to pay 50 million up front. But I understand that they don't have 50 million euros to pay in one window. They don't. They brokered a deal for Lenny Euro. They brokered a deal for Joshua Zirkzee, and they're gonna try and do the same for Matthias de Ligt as well, which I hear it. Muppeteers also confirming that Matthias de Ligt remains the main target for United, despite checking again for Jared Branthwaite. So they've gone back and had a little peek at Jared Branthwaite, but they will continue to monitor. Which they'll continue to monitor. Now, of course, we don't know what Everton's season is going to play out like, but if they do get relegated, then Jared Branthwaite might be available on a cheaper fee next summer. Now, this is very interesting to me, guys. This is really interesting. You might as well bring that Alvarez brother from West Ham. You might as well bring who else? Mohamed Kudus. Who else are you missing? Tagliafico. This is very interesting. I think this is about 30%. If Man United, by the way, do manage to buy Nazir Mazraoui, and they do manage to buy Matthias de Ligt, I think this will suggest that every window that Manchester United have had under Erik ten Hag, they've signed a previous player of his, and B, about 30% of the signings since joining Manchester United were former Ajax players, which I don't read into it too much. I really try not to read into it too much, because former manager wants the players that he worked with that works for his system. I hear it. I hear it. Like I can't be too heavily critical on that. You had a system that worked with a certain type of players, and you just want to rebuild that again. So what do? You go and get the foundations of that, the goalkeeper, the defender, or the defenders, etc. Who do we think is more likely to join? Who do we think is more likely to join? Who should be the bigger priority is actually should be the question. Because obviously Manchester United are trying to, I feel like it could be Nazir Mazraoui that is the first one to join. I really think it could be, just because I feel like Man United are in a better position to offload Aaron Wan-Bissaka and agree a deal for Mazraoui, because Bayern Munich are not asking for a lot in comparison to Matthias de Ligt. Now, reported by Fabrizio earlier today was that a left back is not priority, and Manchester United are focused on 3 particular signings: Nazir Mazraoui, Matthias de Ligt, and Ugarte, and getting those deals done as soon as possible. Once all of that is kind of put to bed, then if the opportunity arises, Manchester United will look at signing a new left back. Now, Nazir Mazraoui is a left back. He might not be traditionally in himself, he's not a left back because he plays right back, but we all know that he can play left back. He has played left back many a times, and he plays it for his national team as well, which is no surprise. I do, like I said, anticipate that it will probably be him that comes first into Manchester United in comparison to Matthias de Ligt, etc., etc. And it's reported that Manchester United have informed his camp, can I say? By the way, not just his camp, but also de Ligt, because they share the same agent. But they have been informed that Manchester United plan to bid again this week, and there's movement expected. Now, last week it was rumored that Manchester United had a medical booked for Tuesday for Nazir Mazraoui. Now, that's rumors, guys. If we go off of those rumors, maybe we might get a little news today. We might get some news later on tonight or this evening. I've got to keep an eye out on it. But I do imagine that Manchester United are treating this as 2 separate deals rather than treating it as one deal, which is what I think Bayern Munich want. I don't think Bayern Munich want them to be kind of botched into one deal together. Now, one of them is on tour with the club, and the other is not. And it's reported that both of their agents, they share the same agent, so their agent is very confident that both players will sign for Manchester United by the end of the window. Manchester United are doing everything right. They've given their word to the players, because the players have also given them their word. The players have pushed to get the deal done. Man United are pushing to get the deal done, and they've reassured them that they will get the deal done. So the agents feel comfortable. I just think this has been too long. You know what this has written all over it? It just has failure written all over it. It literally, if this falls through and this fails, I will not be surprised. I anticipate that it won't, but the fact that this has been going on for so long, it's kind of been a little bit exhausting, guys. I don't know how you lot feel. You can imagine how I feel talking about it every single day. But it's literally been exhausting. If I heard today that both deals fell through, I'll be like, oh, wow, womp womp, as if we didn't see that coming. And if we see both deals get a here we go, then we'll be like, womp womp, like we didn't see that coming. That's how I feel about it at this point, guys. Literally, that is honestly how I feel about the situation right now. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm bringing this up because this is obviously relevant to Manchester United, because Man United, we were linked to him at the beginning of the season, at the beginning of the transfer window. Sorry, not much, not in detail, not anything solid, just paper talk. But João Neves has signed for PSG. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because this, I think, will be linked to Manuel Ugarte kind of being, I don't want to say pushed out, but now PSG will be desperate to find a deal for this. PSG will be desperate to find a deal for Manuel Ugarte and kind of get him off the books. Just because now they've brought in João Neves for 70 million. And I anticipate it will be a decent salary as well. And one other thing, just on Manchester United, right? Whoa, why did I zoom in so much? One more thing. Because someone just mentioned it in the chat. The possibility, according to Fabrizio Romano, the possibility of Jadon Sancho leaving Manchester United is still there. However, it is a bit quiet at the moment. And confirmed, Juve are no longer interested in Jadon Sancho. So what does that mean? The only other real club that had any sort of interest in him, was PSG and obvious Borussia Dortmund. Now, it looks like to me, honestly, it looks like Jadon Sancho is not going anywhere. I think Jadon Sancho will be staying for the foreseeable future. Ash says, Minna, the problem is everyone thought Sancho would be sold. That's messed up some of the cash flow. That too, but even the fact that there's no movement for Harry Maguire, for Casemiro. I don't actually think Sancho is the cash flow bottleneck. I think the bottleneck for cash flow is Casemiro. And the reason why I say that, I'm not blaming him, but I'm saying the fact that when we spoke about ins and outs, Casemiro was always number one on the list, because as fans, we felt like Manchester United could possibly capitalize on, his name and his stature and all of that kind of stuff. And with the Saudi league, etc., Man United would be able to make a little bit of money of that. Casemiro was never sold. And I heard this, guys, from someone in Saudi. Yeah, I heard this from someone that works, I don't want to say where, but they work in the football league in Saudi. Casemiro never wanted to go to Saudi Arabia. He never wanted to go to Saudi Arabia. And as a result, the Saudi teams that are run by the government, the Al Ittihads, the Al Nassrs, etc., they had no interest in kind of going all out for Casemiro, because he didn't want it. He's in my opinion, he's probably more likely to go to the MLS one day than he is to go to Saudi Arabia. This notion of a reunion with Cristiano Ronaldo was never the case. And he was never going to be reunited with Karim Benzema at Al Ittihad, because Karim Benzema just wanted French players, and that's what they've done. They've brought in Hussam Aouar, they've brought in Moussa Diaby, etc., etc. They wanted French-speaking players. So I don't think the biggest bottleneck for cash flow for Manchester United is Jadon Sancho. I think the biggest bottleneck is Casemiro, because when we spoke about this transfer window months ago, like I'm talking about during the season, we were speaking and predicting the transfer window. Everybody was saying 40 million, 50 million for Casemiro. Everybody was saying it would have been some big fee. It was never going to happen. It was never. And that is where Manchester United's biggest shortcomings have come from this window, as well as Jadon Sancho. I think a lot of people anticipated. No one saw Sancho returning to training. No one saw that coming. No one saw him and Erik ten Hag hand in hand, buddy all over again. Nobody anticipated that. Everyone anticipated Man United was selling for 25, 30, maybe 40 million. Same with Harry Maguire. No one anticipated that he would still be here after the Euros. No one anticipated that his injury would keep him out of the Euros. Because when I spoke about Harry Maguire, I said that he would play in the Euros. I hope he would play in the Euros so that it drives up his price. But that never happened. So there's quite a few, I would say, bottlenecks when it comes to Man United's cash flow problems, if we're talking about specific players. I don't think it's nice. I don't think it's purely on Jadon Sancho. I really don't think it's purely on Jadon Sancho's departure. Another guy that's kind of slow with his departure, if it's going to happen, is Scott McTominay. Now, reported by Sky Sports less than an hour ago that dialogue remains open between Manchester United and Fulham, and it continues over a deal for Scott McTominay. Fulham are yet to decide if they will go back in with an improved offer. If you look, remember, they've had 3 bids rejected. Man United have rejected 3 bids for Scott McTominay. I think the last one was for 23 or 24 million. United would have to compromise on their asking price for Fulham if Fulham are to return with a new bid. Now, reportedly, Manchester United are willing to accept 25 million plus up to 5 million in add-ons that will take it up to 30. And obviously, that's just slightly above what Fulham offered in the first place anyway. So that's something interesting that we're going to obviously keep an eye on. But here, Adam says it. We can't even sell McTominay. Honestly, guys, who have Man United sold that we felt was a sellable asset? All the players that we felt that were sellable assets, who has actually been sold? Donny van de Beek, 500k. Willy Cambuala is the only one that kind of shocked me. 10 million euros and Mason Greenwood. Those are the only people Man United have sold. Man United's outgoings has been lethargic. I don't even know if lethargic is the right word to describe it. I'm not speaking about just in general. I'm speaking about particularly this summer window. Man United players that have been sold for a decent income, because we were told months ago that Manchester United's summer transfer window would heavily rely on outgoings to bring in the incomings. But even the outgoings, we can't get it right. we can't get it right. Now, of course, I understand Manchester United are being, I don't want to say stubborn, but they're holding out for what they feel like is rightfully a fee that they should be asking for. I mean, 30 million for Scott McTominay, up to 20 million with Aaron Wan-Bissaka, up to 40 million for Jadon Sancho. I understand that. I understand that you can't sell your players short continuously because it's not going to make a difference. And I also understand that Manchester United are looking at packages for players that they want to buy, where they don't have to pay up front. They don't have to pay the full cost up front because Man United's cash flow is a big issue. I think in their Q1 results, was it, or their Q2 results, they had like 60 million cash in bag. 60 million cash in bag. That's unheard of. That's unheard of. So I kind of understand that. Fat Thought asked something here on Jadon Sancho. There's something that's stopping Sancho from going up a gear. I feel like this is the max potential he could reach and offer us. Ability or mentality issues. They should try to sell him. I don't know what it is with Jadon Sancho. Sometimes I feel like he's about to hit that kind of level that I expect him to hit. And then sometimes you just don't see it coming. Now, for me, this season, I'm not going to say it's a fresh slate for Sancho. I'm not going to say it's a fresh slate for Jadon Sancho. But this season is actually a make or break. It's really make or break. Because Jadon Sancho, coming into this season, this is his 4th season at Manchester United. It's his 4th season. His first season, Oli got sacked. Second season, he had personal problems in his personal life that kind of impacted him, and the club supported him, rightfully so. Third season, he was exiled from the club in September. Then went on to go to a Champions League final. So this is his 4th season, guys. This is his 4th season at Manchester United. Didn't play last. It still counts. It still counts. He played in the first couple games at the beginning of the season. If you lot remember, he played in the first couple games at the beginning of the season. It still counts as his 4th season at Manchester United. The same way that it counts, the same way it's Erik ten Hag's 3rd season, even though some people are saying it's his 1st season under Ineos, so it's his 1st season. It's not. It's Jadon Sancho's 4th season at Man United. If I'm saying that Mason, if and I have a question, this is a question to everyone in the audience, by the way. If we're saying that this is a big season for players that have been brought under Erik ten Hag that are yet to prove their worth, can we say the same about Jadon Sancho? Can we say about Jadon Sancho that this is equally a big season for him as much as it's an important season for Mason Mount? Mason Mount, who is on the receiving end of a lot of criticism. Jadon Sancho as well I think he earns 14 million a year. Please, bro, just if Jadon Sancho gave me just the crumb of that 14 million, I'll sit here and defend him for the rest of my life on YouTube. Honestly, guys, 14 million a year. Do you know what that could do? No wonder players don't want to leave Man United. No wonder players do not want to leave Man United, because they are sorted for life financially with this club. They're generational wealth. Have you lot ever heard of generational wealth? I don't come from generational wealth. I don't think a lot of other people come from generational wealth. But they are really... Jadon Sancho is creating generational wealth for his entire family just by staying at Man United every year. And I hear it. I hear it. Sancho, yes. Mount, no. Mount was already a dead player like Anthony. No expectations. That's harsh. That's harsh. That's harsh. Because having no expectations from a player... Okay, let me put it like this. Would you rather have no expectations from a player and continuously not be disappointed? Or would you rather have expectations, even if it's the bare minimum, have expectations from a player, and when they don't perform, you're going to be disappointed? Because I'm not going to lie, if you're at Man United, I should have an expectation of you. Whether or not you are Anthony, and I don't think you're a good footballer, well, I think you are the greatest footballer, you should have standards. Colin says Mason Mount, the bullseye is on him this season. 100%. The reason why criticism is on Anthony, people speak about his price tag, etc., his salary, etc., but also his performances. Mason Mount is the same thing. Man United Mason Mount could have come to Man United this year on a free. He could have come to Manchester United this summer on a free. They paid 250k a week to him. They've paid 60 million to Chelsea, who have just turned around and sold now Conor Gallagher, or is selling Conor Gallagher. And then they're signing some random player from Atletico. I really don't understand Chelsea, someone. No one saw Havertz being a better buy than Mount. 60 M's is mad in retrospect. I think it, you know what I think it is that Kai Havertz fits into the system at Arsenal. You don't know where Mason Mount stands in the system at Manchester United. That is when you look at both kind of transfers, and you look at the fact that Kai Havertz went in as this false 9 player. He could play on left, he can play behind a striker, etc., etc. With Jesus in front of him, with Martinelli on the left, he's fighting for a spot with Trossard as well. You know what you're getting with Kai Havertz. You know how he fits into the system at Arsenal, because clearly you've researched his playing style, his ability, and where you see him best fit. But then you look at Manchester United's playing style, or the system at Man United. Until today, I still don't know where Mason Mount fits. I don't know where Mason Mount fits. And that's not any kind of wrongdoing on his end. I said this before, guys. I don't know how Man United went from having, what's it called? Their eyes on Frankie de Jong, who we're going to come back to that again, because, there's more talk about the idea of Frankie de Jong. But I don't know how they went from being linked to Frankie de Jong to ending up with Casemiro and Mount. I don't understand that. And I'm sure a lot of people kind of wondered that. Big up to Mark, says Mount was always a shit buy. Mason Mount is an average footballer and was better on the right wing for Chelsea. Ash says, I would have taken Havertz any day over Mount. It's like I would have taken Maddison over Mount. Why did we buy Mount? The interesting thing is that I think Mount was brought in to be that 8 with legs, if you know what I mean. I thought Mason Mount's, when he came in, and I know this sounds ridiculous, because I'm essentially saying that Man United spent 60 million on someone that just runs, which is a poor excuse. That's a poor excuse. But I look at Mason Mount, and I look at even him now, and I think, okay, on paper it makes sense. Man United needed people to cover ground in midfield, but I saw him get bodied by Joel Linton in the early stages of the Carabao Cup. I don't know if you lot remember the game that Man United lost them, basically first round. I think it was second round that got them knocked out of the competition. He got bodied by Joel Linton in a foot race that led to a Newcastle goal. And after that day, I said, okay, this guy has no strength. He can run, but if you have no strength, you're not doing anything. You're not doing anything for Manchester United. And that's what Manchester United, for me, need. They need people that have a technical ceiling in midfield, but they just need like monsters. They need strength. That's what they need. That's what they need. And that's what they're lacking. That's what they are really, really lacking. I mentioned it earlier, but we're just going to quickly revisit this. Would you actually do this? Would you take Frankie de Jong? Would you take Frankie de Jong? Reports in Spain is the suggestion that Barcelona are looking to sell Frankie de Jong this summer. Now, of course, he's on a big salary. He's on a big salary, and Barcelona are willing to accept 35 million for him. That's 35 million too much that Manchester United don't have. Can I just say that, guys? It's 35 million too much that Manchester United don't have. The same way that Barcelona are in financial trouble, we're not at that level yet. Man United are not at that financial level yet. But they do need to be cautious, and they need to be responsible in this transfer window. And they shouldn't just enter ludicrous transfers. Because we're doing Barcelona a favor. Let's be real. We are doing Barcelona a favor because they are in a big financial F-up. They are trying to apparently they're trying to even get Lewandowski off their books. They're even trying to get Lewandowski off their books. I don't even know why till today that guy left Bayern Munich. I don't know why. But he's reportedly on up to 600k a week. Now, of course, that is an inflated price. Can I just say that, guys? That is an inflated price because most of that is his deferred salary over COVID. He was initially on, I think, 300k, and then obviously he deferred a lot of his salary during COVID to help out Barcelona, and then now that's what he's making back. Now, actually, let's do something interesting. Let's look at, because I think his injury history is an interesting one. He's suffering right now with injury problems. Can I just say He's suffering right now from injury problems, which is why he missed the Euros. Look at his injury record, guys. Just this season. The season that just passed. Oh, you lot can't see it. Let me scroll up a little bit. Here you go. Look at 23 to 24. 14 games, 1 game, 6 games, 7 games. The season before that, he missed 9 games, which is not bad. That's not bad. The season before that, he missed 9 games. That's not bad. The season before that, he missed 5 games. That's not bad. The season before that, COVID season, he missed 7 games. And then the season before that, he didn't really miss much. He did miss quite a few games at Ajax in one season. In Ajax, he missed 31 games. He's missed 31 games. So across every campaign, look at this. 31 games at Ajax, which is practically most of the year. He missed 329 days. And then this season that just passed, he missed 205 days with a number of 4 injuries and 28 games. Now, money aside, this is not a smart buy. This is not a smart buy. Whether or not Erik ten Hag is dying for it, and this is the final piece of his puzzle that he's building at Manchester United, this would go completely against what Sir Jim Ratcliffe has fed the audience over the last couple months. Like since Ineos have come in February, when he did his first kind of media sit down, he said, we're not going to buy the next star. We're going to buy, we want to buy the next star. Sorry, we don't want to buy the current superstar. He's dying. He's asking for it. He's dying for it. Erik ten Hag is dying for it. Honestly, even if he's saying, please, guys, please, Fadlan, please. No. Man United need to know where to draw the line. And I said this last summer, that after the last few rumors of Frankie de Jong, I said that summer is the summer that we draw the line under Frankie de Jong. Because similar to Rabiot, similar to people like, there's so many names, yeah? It's not a summer window if Man United and Frankie de Jong is not mentioned. And I'm glad to hear for once that it's not Manchester United that are interested. I'm glad to hear that it's Barcelona. They're going around and offering him to clubs, guys. He's like a Vaseline tub. They're literally there trying to sell him on the corner of the street in Barcelona. So I wouldn't take Frankie de Jong. Would you guys take Frankie de Jong? Say it's 35 million. And say he's willing to take a salary pay cut. Not a big one, but he's willing to take a salary pay cut. Will you take Frankie de Jong? Because I would. If you're going to go and spend 35, 40 million, go and buy Zubimendi. Go and buy Manuel Ugarte. Go and buy, I don't know, Yusuf Fofana. Go and buy Verman. Go and buy someone else. Just not Frankie de Jong. I'm very glad that everyone in the chat is saying no. We get ripped off, we do. United do get ripped off. But that's why I'm hoping that this Ineos regime changes it. I'm really hoping this Ineos regime changes it. I'd have him for 25 million. I wouldn't. How about that? I would not have him for 25 million. I'm not going to lie, yeah? I don't think Manchester United should go back. If they've been rejected by him before, and they have been, by the way, why are you going back for him? Know your worth. Why are you going back for him? There is no reason Manchester United should look at Frankie de Jong as an option anymore. And that might sound a bit dramatic, but I don't know how to say it in a better way. Last but not least, as it was mentioned, this is a really bad picture, by the way. As it was mentioned by Muppeteers earlier, that Manchester United would rather sign nobody rather than to have to pay 50 million up front for Matthias de Ligt. Trevor Chalobah, 25 million, yes or no? Yes or no? Given the fact, by the way, about Trevor Chalobah is that similar to Conor Gallagher, they don't want him. And it's not just him, by the way. There's Broha, there's other players as well. 25 million as a squad option. I think 25 million is a lot for a squad option, but I need to remember things like inflation, yeah, cost of living crisis. I have to think about that stuff. I have to kind of think of that stuff. Now, if United do not get Matthias de Ligt, which I think they could, I don't know if how their negotiations are going, but I'm just putting my trust and faith in Ahmad Barada, Dan Ashworth, people who have been in that position before to get the deal over the line. But it's been reported for the last couple of weeks that Manchester United would actually visit this idea of Trevor Chalobah. I don't know about him, but if it's the only thing United can get for that price, oh, we might find ourselves in a sticky one, guys. We actually might find ourselves in a little bit of a sticky situation if this is the only thing that United can get for this price tag, which is quite unfortunate, which is, in my opinion, quite unfortunate. But let me know your thoughts. Let me see what you lot are actually saying. He's not a good centre back. He's a decent centre back. Let me see. Everyone's saying no. Only one person said yes. True Legion says 20 million. I'll take him. We're going to have to revisit this. To be frank, I'll take him over Lindelof. I'm sorry to break it to you guys. It actually might be Lindelof and Harry Maguire that's playing this season. It might be that. It might be that. But listen, guys, you guys know what it is, man. Be sure to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe. Hopefully we get a hit. I'm dying for, you know, the way that that Erik ten Hag is dying to sign Frankie de Jong. I am dying. I am dying for a here we go. Please, just one here we go. Just one this week. Man United, you spoil us. You gave us 2 here we goes in the space of a week. And now it's been radio silence. How you just, it's like they're hanging it from here and they're just swinging it side to side. Stop it. Please. Can we just get a here we go? I just want a here we go. Chido is a here we go. That's not here we go. I'm talking about senior player. Shout out to Chido Obi Martin though. I'm looking forward to watching him for Manchester United's academy. But I'm talking about the Mazrawis, the De Ligts, the Ugates, the people that we sit here and talk about day in, day out. Guys, you know how hard it is to sit here and talk about the same stuff every day? Like, it's not easy. So please, Man United need to just reward us just one time with a here we go. I wouldn't mind even 2 here we goes. I wouldn't even mind that. But listen, guys, be sure to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe. We're 1 like off 100. 1 like off 100. I know someone here has not liked the video, so just go check if you've liked the video and hit a like button. If you are watching this back, be sure to hit the like button and comment below your thoughts. Listen, if you lot are living in the UK right now, if you are in England, if you are in Ireland, if you are in Scotland, if you are in Wales, please stay safe. Please stay safe, everybody. That's to you, your family, your friends. Yeah, we live in a weird world sometimes, but in this world that we live in, there is no space for racism, there's no space for Islamophobia, there's no space for bigotry, etc. So I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you have a wonderful day. If we get a here we go today, I will be live later on this evening if we get a here we go, and if we don't, then I'll be live again tomorrow. You lot know what it is. In 5 minutes time, I'll be on Saeed's channel. If you lot know Saeed, I will be on Saeed's channel where we're going to talk on the Straight Jacket podcast. So come over, minions in the chat, all of that stuff as well. And like I said, guys, let me just emphasize it again. There is no space in this world, no place in this world for bigotry, for racism, for xenophobia, for Islamophobia, and all of that stuff. There is no place for it. And you know what, guys? This community here, there's no space for that either in it. So if you're one of them people, just unsubscribe. That's it. But big up to everyone. Like I said, be sure to hit the like button, be sure to subscribe. And if you are in the UK, I hope you and your family stay safe. You know what it is, man. Hit the like button on your way out. Guys, I am out. Peace. Come on, I hope we get a here we go.